Welcome to the Rachel Varga Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Varga, double board certified aesthetic nurse specialist since 2011 with over 20,000 rejuvenation procedures performed. I'm an international clinical trainer for other physicians and nurses as well, celebrity skin expert, having been featured on some of the world's top proactive aging podcasts, and much, much more. Learn more at rachelvarga.ca and enjoy today's episode. Hello, everyone. How are you today? I'm really excited for today's live episode right here on the newly rebranded Always Radiant Skin podcast, where I'm going to be sharing some behind the scenes tips for radiant skin and how can we get better skin using this concept of radiance. What is radiance? What is our intention behind skin rejuvenation? Be sure to be active in the comment section of this live stream. Let me know your questions that you have pertaining to skincare and radiance, and I'm here to answer any live questions, which is really fun. So today we are focusing on skin radiance tips. Well, we've all seen those skincare ads, those skincare gimmicks on social media, and it's like the more you purchase skincare, the more you're getting heavily targeted by these ads. Now, one word of warning is I just wrapped up a couple consultations today, and in one of the products that my clients was using, guess what ingredient I found? Yep, canola oil. And this is in a product that is marketed to be clean beauty. And it's really frustrating. I'm actually seeing canola oil more and more in these, big time manufactured skincare companies. And what I'm postulating is that before maybe these companies that were, clean beauty, EWG, clean Sephora ratings, all this stuff, I feel like these companies are getting bought by bigger companies. And then what's happening is then these companies are looking to cut corners and cut costs with their formulation. I'm fully aware of what the skincare formulation world looks like, being in it for so long myself. And I just see this a lot now in my consultations. Canola oil being an ingredient. Now, canola oil is highly inflammatory. This is also being considered a forever chemical these days. Why we need to avoid canola oil in skincare is for the same reason we need to avoid canola oil in our foods. And literally, this stuff is mixed into every type of prepackaged food you're getting at the grocery store, whether that's a sauce or some type of, prepared frozen thing. Canola oil is in everything, and it's highly inflammatory, and you need to stop exposing yourself to it as much as possible. Al Natri says canola oil, can't put that on my acne prone skin. Definitely not. And it's just wild how much I'm seeing canola oil used in skincare now. And if you listen to any type of health podcast, you know that people are preaching from the mountaintops to stop eating canola oil. Every time you go to a restaurant these days, they're pretty much cooking with canola oil. So take a tip from my good friend Dave Asprey. When he goes to a restaurant, he says, give me a piece of steak cooked in butter with salt, and then any vegetables, steamed with butter. You can request these things when you go out to restaurants. I just wrapped up a lovely consultation with Mary Lou, and this is actually one of her apprehensions about going out with people to socialize at restaurants, is getting that exposure to these rancid oils. Now, some of us don't care about this as much as other people do. And I'm telling you, if you want to be radiant, it all comes down to reducing this toxic bucket, otherwise known as the oxidative stress status, which I just have a published article on oxidative stress status in the skin. What's the bottom line? We want to ensure that our stress levels are as empty as possible, which also includes stress from things that we consume. All right, for those of you here live, I would love to ask you, what does radiance mean to you? And if you follow my interviews here on the show, you know that I'm asking every single guest that I interview, what is radiance? And I'm getting all sorts of different answers from every guest that I have. So I want you to think about this. What is radiance to you? When you imagine connecting with someone and you're connecting with someone who is quote unquote radiant, what would that look like to you? And also, How would you like to be perceived as being more radiant? What does that look like for you? Let me know in the comment section. Also, it's a good idea to ask yourself, what is your intention with skincare, skin rejuvenation, and optimizing your health journey? Oftentimes, in my discovery of the why and the psychology around people wanting to get better skin, wanting to rejuvenate things like fine lines, wrinkles, acne scarring, sagging skin, loose skin, dry skin, the why behind this, you've likely heard me say this before if you're a longtime Always Radiant Skin podcast listener. The why behind beautification is confidence. And what does confidence give us? Confidence gives us the confidence to have connections with others. Humans are very social beings. We're meant to be in community. And if you are anything like myself and my lovely one-on-one clients, skin campers, and the School of Radiance members, we are very particular who we spend our time and energy with in an effort to protect our own energy. This is a radiant secret, by the way, is to not give your energy out for free to just anybody, and also have an understanding how to protect your energy and also present yourself in the highest and the most radiant version of yourself. Elle says, definitely clear, healthy looking skin is your intention with skincare, skin rejuvenation, and your health journey. Let's go a little bit deeper, Elle. What is your why? So we have the intention. Now, what is your why? Now, this is kind of doing some Jungian deep shadow work with beauty and rejuvenation. Oftentimes, when people think about the shadow side of skin and rejuvenation and finally investing in their skincare and rejuvenation journey, they might think, oh, this is conceited. This is costing too much money. This is too much attention on myself. Now, this is something that some of you need to overcome because no one is going to put your oxygen mask on first. And a lot of times, the clients that I work with are not just interested in the superficial aspects of healthy skin. They're often doing things behind the scenes as well to slow down their aging process and help their hormones be balanced, get better sleep, and also just feel and look their best. So the intention for L is to have clear, healthy looking skin. And then the why is where we get a little bit deeper. And I recommend if things like vanity are coming up for you, I want you to ask why. Why is it so difficult for you to potentially think about spending a little bit of time and money on helping your skin be healthier? The skin is actually our largest organ, and it's really important that we take excellent care of our skin. And did you know that because the skin is our largest organ, it also gives us a really good read as to what's going on the inside? Now we're going to get a little bit deeper here in respects to, well, what is radiance to me? This is a constantly evolving question and answer. And at this time, I have a really cool answer to this question. Now, if you are in the School of Radiance, you know that I've just done a lesson on this very topic in respects to Ayurvedic medicine, and something I recently discovered in the book, Two Bodies, One Soul. Check out that book. It's an excellent book with some great meditation and yoga pose practices, and it has a really cool explanation of radiance. Radiance, in accordance with Ayurveda, radiance is the 10th body. We have our body, mind, spirit, and energy aspects to ourselves. We also have these other aspects to ourselves. The 10th body in Ayurveda is the electromagnetic projection of all of the other bodies and systems of us. So, to be radiant is also to have all your other systems behind the scenes in check, which means detoxing, which means biohacking, which means avoiding things like canola oil. If your body and your system is inflamed, or you're fueling your body inappropriately with the wrong foods, then your toxic bucket will be more full, you will be more inflamed, you're going to have more skin disturbances, and your radiance will be dimmed. Now, what do you think is one of the most important things that people need more of in the world? We need more positivity. We need more light. We need more people living their best, most radiant lives possible. Is this the easy route? No, it's not the easy route. It's actually the road less traveled, and it can be a little bit lonely. So, a lot of us who do care about our health, our vitality, our wellness, it can be a little bit isolating. So oftentimes in my one-on-one sessions, the biggest things that are coming up is, a little bit of social overwhelm, not really feeling super comfortable going out into social engagements, having to make small talk. And especially when you are on a journey of your health optimization, looking after yourself, you're going to see other people not necessarily having that same value. So, what's really important is that when we are connecting with others, to find others with similar shared values. Now, this is really important when you are on this skin rejuvenation and radiance journey, is that yes, you are going to notice that certain people in your life are going to fall away. You're also probably going to want to help everybody. Don't do that. You will help people by allowing them to see how well you are doing and living and leading by example. It is not your job to tell absolutely everyone you meet to stop avoiding canola oils. This is a big deal. To stop avoiding toxic, rancid oils in everyday life takes a lot of time and a lot of energy when you're going to the grocery stores to read the labels on everything you're eating. Most people don't have that time, or they don't even have the knowledge. So if people start asking you questions about what you do in your life, that could be a good opportunity to start to drip out certain things that you are doing to be your healthiest, to be your most radiant version. But I don't want you to word vomit all of the things that you've been listening to or reading about in regards to health optimization. Elle says her why. I want people to feel comfortable when talking with me and to see that I put effort into caring for myself. That's really, really beautiful. I'm going to repeat this because I think that what she's hit the nail on, hit the head of the nail on is really key. She wants people to feel comfortable when talking to her. I'm going to highlight this comment here. This is excellent. One of the things about being in communication with others to have higher communication is to allow, yes, others to feel comfortable with you. So if you don't have shared values, there's really no point in discussing things that are important to you because it's not going to be shared by the other party, and that's okay. Find some type of common ground. This is a really good social skill to begin to cultivate. I talk a lot about psychology. I talk a lot about negotiation, communication skills, what to do with our eyes, what to do with our hands, what to do with our bodies when we are talking. This is really, really helpful so that when you are communicating with others, they feel like you are actually caring about what you're saying, right? And what they're saying. People love to hear other people, talk about them and ask them questions. So, a great tip to having other people feel comfortable is to actually start to ask them questions. Then from that, you will be able to find common ground in regards to common values. And then this is going to help both parties feel more comfortable. I love studying psychology. I love studying communication. And I've had to learn this in my one-on-one client care, as well as speaking on stages and being on interviews. There's a lot of stage prep that I've studied over the last few years, and I actually love to look at linguists. I also love to study people in the intelligence world because they like to share and they like to study. Well, they actually have to in what they do, different things that people do in communication that can actually give really powerful insights as to the words that they're speaking, but also what's running in the background, and then how to appeal to that, how to allow your conversation and communication to allow the parties to both feel comfortable. So I love that. This is very kind. This is very loving. Elle, naturally, she wants to help. She wants people to feel comfortable when talking with her. Love that. And she also wants other people to see that she puts an effort into caring for herself. Now, there are a couple things that can help you sort of find the others in the health, wellness, and biohacking spaces, because at the end of the day, we all need more community. I see my clients are really struggling this, being in their masculine and feminine states, as well as building their community. So nobody wants to spend time with an individual who smells really bad, right? If they're not caring for their personal hygiene, they're not showering enough, they're not washing their hair enough, they're not washing their face enough, their nails are totally unkempt. I actually just recently trimmed my nails off because they grow like weeds after doing tons of parasite cleansing. I did a BioWell reading, which actually looks at a number of different aspects of myself. This is pretty technologically advanced energy medicine stuff, comes from Europe. These are some of the behind the scenes things that I do to monitor my bodily systems. And this is actually something I get into more detail at the schoolofradiance.com. If you're really curious about the things that I do behind the scenes to be healthy and radiant, that's where I share all my secrets that I don't want everybody here on social media to know that I know. And that's a little bit more private. Having people observe that you are putting an effort into caring for yourself will also allow you to come across as more trustworthy. So, when it comes to your personal and also your professional relationships, this can be very advantageous. People are going to take other people more seriously if they look well groomed and well put together, and they're also using good word choices. So, radiance isn't just about how we look, it's how we communicate, it's how we present ourselves, it's the energy that we carry. Radiance is literally the electromagnetic projection of all of our other body systems humming along just so. If you have a vehicle, say you have a V8 or a V10 or a V12 supercar, you're not going to be fueling that vehicle with regular octane. You're going to be putting like a 92 or a 94 octane in that vehicle. You're going to be giving it the best oil possible so that piece of machinery can hum along just fine. That's why food choices are so helpful. So if you go to my favorites page on rachelvarga.ca, you're going to see a couple things that really help me out to be my most radiant version. And when it comes into the effort of caring for ourselves, this is going to be on sort of different levels and different spectrums depending on where you are in your health journey. If you're just getting started, maybe not drinking tap water is, enough of a struggle, and not showering in unfiltered water is a struggle in and of itself. Starting to get that shower filter, which I do have on my favorites page there. But starting with the basics, if you're a longtime listener here on the Always Radiant Skin podcast, you're going to know that on the podcast platform itself, not on Facebook, not on YouTube, is where I do a lot more solo episodes, where I do some more deep dives. Because sometimes if you talk about certain things, live streams die. Very frustrating. Okay, the other thing you're going to find about on the favorites page is something that I drink all the time, every day, and that is Organifi. Now, why I'm talking about this particular product is because it contains superfoods and adaptogens. And yes, they are the sponsor of today's episode on the Always Radiant Skin podcast. Organifi Glow contains tremella mushroom, which actually is more hydrating than hyaluronic acid itself. So this is an excellent product to allow your skin to be hydrated and also get those really important superfoods to fuel your body, and also adaptogens. Adaptogens help the body manage stress. What happens in life? Sometimes stress pops up. What also happens in life is exposure to toxic oils, like sometimes canola oil at a restaurant or a food that you haven't checked the ingredient list. Adaptogens help your body manage stress, and in particular, physical, emotional, mental stress. It can help with those aspects. When your brain is working properly, all of your other systems will work properly as well. So keeping stress down by taking adaptogens can be really helpful. So get Organifi over at Organifi.com/Varga. Use promo code Varga for 20% off. This literally tastes like pink lemonade. It's absolutely delightful. And I sip on these drinks all of the time, all day, every day. I'm taking adaptogens. Why? Radiance also comes with resilience. And if you want clear skin, having your body systems humming along with a lower oxidative stress status is really important. So the emptier our toxic bucket is, when we do have a little bit of slip up and we get exposure to some canola oil or something like that, or a stress comes up in our life, our body, mind, spirit, and energy will be better able to navigate and negotiate through that oxidative stress status. Did you know that when your body experiences a type of a stressor of any kind, it actually elicits a systemic response? And I talk about this in my recent research article on oxidative stress status and the skin. So you might think, oh, if I have that canola oil or exposure to something else, mold, for example, it's only going to affect the respiratory tract or the gut. Nuh-uh. Your whole body actually has a reaction. And that is in the research. So let me know any questions you have about radiance. This whole concept of radiance, I don't see really anybody talking about. And it is one of the most important aspects to having clear skin, which is having a resilient body, mind, spirit, energy, as well as other aspects to ourselves that are well studied for thousands of years in traditional Chinese medicine and also Ayurveda. And just this learning that I had recently about the 10th body in Ayurveda being the radiant body. I didn't even know in my study of radiance since I would say going back to 2015, observing what certain clients of mine were doing. Why were some people showing up and having excellent results with me barely doing any type of rejuvenation? And why were some people, sure, getting some results, but they needed so much more? It comes down to your oxidative stress status, as well as how well your body manages stress and some other really important concepts as well, such as your spiritual practice. Now, this is a key element in Radiance that I talk about in my ebook, Unlocking Your Vitality, that you can get over on my e-store at rachelvarga.ca. Link is in the description to my e-store as well. But this is a really important concept, spirituality, getting right with God. And we also are designed to be in community and have a beautiful, healthy, strong family unit. So when all those things in our lives are balanced and good things are happening in our lives, you're not going to be as stressed out. When you're more stressed out, you're going to have more acne. That hyperpigmentation is going to rear its ugly head. You might get some hair loss happening. You might even get some hypopigmentation, not to mention some weight gain. One of the things I do want to mention is that if you are gaining weight, you do want to take a look at the emotional aspect of yourself. There is a correlation with weight gain and also holding on to things. So regular detoxing, both physical and non-physical, are really important to also being radiant. And I do share my behind the scenes tips over at theschoolofradiance.com. Also, I've been hosting a number of master classes, and these are free to attend, kind of like this here on YouTube, Facebook, and the show. And you do get the opportunity to ask me specific questions. They're a lot of fun. If you want to be sure to get notified when those free master classes happen, head on over to rachelvarga.ca/register. And also, if you want to catch the replays, I've done 2 classes on biohacking, skin brightening, dermal rolling, hair growth stimulation, skin resilience, and much, much more. You can catch the replays over on my e-store. Just type masterclass and you'll be able to find those replays. Those are really fun lessons because you get to ask me questions and get my mind thinking about things that maybe I didn't think about with the topic. And then we have a really cool discussion and it's really interactive. So getting back to what is radiance to me, when I engage with someone, I am gauging a few things, okay? So think about that word for a second, engaging. We're not just, showing up and talking with someone, we're engaging with someone. So one of the best ways to have an engaging conversation is to not wear those smartwatches that are constantly pulling you out of the present moment. Nobody wants to have a conversation with a cyborg with a cell phone in their hand. By the way, if you are dating, one of the best things that you can do on a first date is to put the phone away, put that smartwatch away, and be focused and in the present moment. The whole concept of biohacking tracking I've really kind of moved away from that because I just find it's really distracting people. And a lot of the people that I see behind the scenes that use a lot of these things regularly, they also are in a higher beta brainwave state, which is the fight or flight mode, which is not conducive to slowing aging and being radiant. Your brain's literally kind of scrambled because you are always distracted by this, that, the other thing. There are a lot of things to know about being psychologically resilient, radiance versus scrambled. If you are scrambled with your body, mind, spirit, and energy, things aren't going to be humming along. There's a lot of psychology that goes into understanding your brain, the higher brain, the mammalian brain. There's some deep concepts to start to be aware of. And my two clients today, Anne and Mary Lou, beautiful ladies today, we're both Virgos. It was kind of funny. And I'm a Virgo as well. And one of the things about Virgos is we're very type A. We love to have a plan, and then we love to execute that plan with some type of accountability as well. So the more that you can understand yourself, whether it's through astrology, whether it's through your personality archetypes, that is going to be very helpful in allowing you to have the best engagements with others and also know how to have your needs met. There's also the concept of the 5 love languages. I just did a bi-monthly live call on these topics in the School of Radiance because it is so important. We often think about radiance just pertaining to, our radiance, our self-care, but really it also comes down to how we are engaging with others and then how we are supporting others. And also how maybe we need to protect our energy and really make sure that we are engaging with the right people at the right time in the right way. So one of the cool things that I've noticed over the last few years is that when I go to events, a couple years ago, well, more than a couple years ago, I had people come up to me and say, I love your skin. What skincare products are you using? What makeup do you use? Your hair looks great. How do you do it? What designer outfit are you wearing? And now the response I receive from people is much different. So this is what I teach people now because it's clear to me that what I've been able to practice makes a big difference when you go into social settings and how people respond and how people engage with you. How cool would it be for you the next time you go to a conference or a social setting? You have people come up to you and say, I saw you and I just wanted to come up and say hello and talk to you. How cool would that be, right? Instead of this like forced small talk, you can get right into it. You can cut through the noise and have really great, beautiful, meaning conversations with the right people in the right way at the right time. Now, the other thing is sometimes we go to events and we don't want to be noticed by certain people. There could be certain friends or family members that we sort of want to have these in and out exchanges and relationships with. This can actually be really helpful, getting back to your question, Elle, for having people feel comfortable. So it's also a good idea to learn to read what people are giving off to you as well. And this is a secret to being radiant because it's allowing you to protect your energy. So if you are engaging with someone and their eyes are darting off over here, or they're looking at their Apple Watch, or they're checking their phone all the time, they're probably not that interested in talking with you. So then what you can do is politely excuse yourself because they're probably not comfortable talking to you as well. It's just a, mismatch of values or also personality types. There is some really cool work in personality archetypes that I do highlight in the schoolofradiance.com. And the more we understand what our personality archetype is, the better able we are going to be to function in that. If we are, say, in a situation and been there, done that, my personality archetype was over here. I'm not going to say what it is on this show. Only the School of Radiance. My personality type is over here. However, I was functioning in a personality type over here. And what that was actually adding to was an imbalance in my masculine and feminine energies. Very interesting. So when we are imbalanced in those aspects as well, that is going to have a result in our radiance, our skin health, our aging process, because our personality aspects are actually a little bit scrambled, which is kind of an interesting topic. This has been studied extensively by a top psychiatrist, and this is really great knowledge to have both in your personal and professional lives as well. And I see this all the time, especially with other health influencers when they're talking about different topics. I kind of take a look at them and think to myself, well, they actually don't look very healthy or radiant. They actually look pretty darn tired and overstressed, and they don't seem to have a really beautiful family unit or a balanced life behind the scenes. So I do want you to take this into consideration when you are consuming content out there. I want you to take a good look at who you're potentially learning from. What is the clarity like in their voice? What are their word choices? Are they using words like wonderful or amazing? Or our word choice is a whole other topic. Having other people feel comfortable with speaking with us and being in our energy and engaging with our community is also it's also really important to understand that our words are very powerful. So in communication, we want to be very concise with our communication and use certain words so that when we talk about something, say something that's happening in our life or something that's exciting, or you're at that point in conversation where you're trying to find some similar values that you can both bond on, because that's where bonding happens. If you don't have similar values, that conversation, that communication likely isn't going to go too far and could end sideways really fast. So our word choices are absolutely everything. So really start to lean in to who you are getting information from in the online space, especially in the health and wellness world, also maybe potentially in the business world and psychology world and all of that. What are the people doing with their eyes? If you pay close attention, if they're in an interview with other people, if their eyes are continuing to dart this way, that way, maybe it could be a sign that they're really grasping for information. This is where the study of NLP comes in handy, because when our eyes dart to certain locations, the upper right, the mid right, the lower right, the upper left, the mid left, and the lower left, it actually can indicate where people are pulling information from: past, present, auditory, hearing, memories. This is why I love to study the intelligence world, the negotiation world, the NLP world, the psychology world, as well as even the esoteric worlds as well, because the more information that we know about ourselves and the more we master how we communicate, how we present, our word choices, our communication, our gestures, the better able we get at deciphering if someone we're engaging with is giving us the highest information, if they're making stuff up, or if they're trying to mislead us. Very interesting things here. And so I don't share the stuff that I know and have researched for years publicly here on the show, because I might not necessarily want the general public to know that I actually know these things when I'm having a conversation with someone. So being radiant is also about being smart and being very conscious of everything that is going on with your body. The more in tune you are with your body systems, the more positive your systems are. Your endocrine system, right? Your hormones, your detox pathways, your digestion, your central nervous system, your lymphatic drainage. We have all of these beautiful body systems: our respiratory system, our cardiovascular system, our circulatory system. This is why biohacking can be so helpful to enhancing radiance by helping you be as pure as possible. So, quickly, the 5 things to focus on to become radiant, to help you become radiant now, to help you become more pure now, is to purify your air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, and irregular detoxing. You can find my favorite biohacks on my favorites page. I do have a previous masterclass too, actually, on biohacking, where in one of those, I actually do a walkthrough of my recent oxidative stress status and its impacts on the skin, which is essentially a paper on how these 5 areas, air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, and detoxing, impacts the skin. In other words, how does biohacking help us get the best hair, skin, nails of our life? Slow cellular aging. What's the science, for example, behind purifying your air? Did you know that air particulates in the air in your home, office, wherever you're listening to this, maybe even in your car, can contain things like mold? And most of our body's exposure to heavy metals is actually from the air. That's why cleansing your face in the AM and PM with the double cleanse in the PM is so important. Notice I didn't say morning, I said AM. We don't want to more in the morning. This is another example of how word choice is so important. So not only do we want to purify those 5 areas, and you can also download my 5 key areas for biohacking and then 4 additional insights in my 9 keys to slowing aging. It's a brand new checklist. It's a free checklist, description down below, as well as my skincare checklist at skincarechecklist.com. You're going to get some extra bonuses of like 5 different, get started today with your skincare routines and all of that over at skincarechecklist.com. It's totally free. That will help you get started on what I consider the 9 keys of slowing aging, which also include those key 5 biohacks. So as you can see, being radiant and having healthy, clear skin is not just about using skincare. Yes, using non-toxic skincare that obviously doesn't have canola oil is so important. But a lot of things I'm seeing in skincare is really weird these days, including tin and also BPA. And the reason why is a lot of these big skincare companies get actually bought by big food and big pharma. Why is that so strange? Well, when we think about different chemical byproducts that could be used in the skincare formulation process, there are lots of ingredients in skincare that actually come from the petroleum world. Petroleum is also a common ingredient in a lot of over-the-counter skincare products, not to mention chemical sunscreen filters. So one thing I want you to do right now is go find your sunscreen. Go find your BB cream, CC cream, primer, your tinted moisturizer with sunscreen. Go find that product right now. I'm going to give you a Radiance tip. Does the ingredients list on the back of that bottle at the active ingredients section contain anything other than zinc and titanium? We're not talking the full ingredients list. We're looking at the active ingredients section only. If there are any other ingredients in the active ingredients section only that has a percentage that is not zinc or titanium, those are chemical sunscreen filters. Oftentimes when I work with clients in a one-on-one setting, which I warmly invite you to use promo code podcast15 to book your one-on-one skin and rejuvenation session with me. We'll spend time together. I'll get to know your skin goals, your values, your lifestyle, your budget, and then come up with an easy to follow with ongoing support at-home skincare routine. We'll talk about dermal rolling. We'll talk about retinols. We'll talk about peels, as well as potentially other in-clinic rejuvenation options that are in alignment with your values, budget, lifestyle, and all of that. Stopping right now to use chemical sensory filters for yourself and your whole family are so important. These are known hormone disruptors. So when it comes to being radiant, we want to have our balanced hormones. We want to ensure that our brain is in check so that we don't have things like mold impacting our central nervous system. It's actually psychiatric conditions that can occur from mycotoxin exposure, believe it or not. So the more empty your toxic bucket is, the better your conversations are going to be, because you're going to be less scrambled, your brain's going to be working better, and you're just going to be more of a pleasure to be around. Back in the day, I was totally dysregulated. I had exposure to 3 different types of mold, being in 2 car crashes. My nervous system was shot, and I really had to change things up. My entire way that I lived my life, and I had to do that. And I'm really glad that I did, because at the same time, my skin started to get better. So sometimes when things happen to us on our journey of being a human, it can elicit a transformational stage. Now, with Radiance, this is an ongoing topic to continue to learn about. This is something I love to study. This is quickly becoming my life's work. How can we become as pure as possible, have the highest engagements and communication with ourselves and others, and also contribute in the highest in the world with the work that we do and with our exchanges with ourselves and others. This is, I think, how we help make this world a better place, is when we first clean up how we care for ourselves, when we first clean up how we engage with ourselves and our personal thoughts, master our emotions, master our psychological state, become psychologically resilient. And sometimes we do have to learn some things to bring things into our awareness that we need to focus on that maybe we never thought about before. That's why the schoolofradiance.com is absolutely the place to be, where I even talk about different pieces of technology that I use to support my radiance and also give me really cool insights that is beyond what's in the biohacking space. I do not see the tech that I use anywhere in the biohacking space yet. Or it's just not really expensive technology, so people are going to make a lot of money on it. But trust me, this stuff does work. And I just did a masterclass on skin resilience, where I even dripped out one of the pieces of technology that I use to monitor myself. And then in the School of Radiance, there's additional pieces that I share to that as well. So let me know any questions or comments you have from today's live lesson here on Facebook and YouTube, this live recording on the Always Radiant Skin podcast on radiance tips for better skin. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share this episode with a friend or family member that you think might resonate with this as well. And be sure to book your one-on-one. Let's connect. Use promo code podcast15 for a one-on-one session. All the links to work with me are in the description of this episode. Skin Camp is also where I show skin tutorials. So if you're curious, okay, we have all these great products that you've recommended, Rachel. How do we use them? One-on-one sessions are like your cake recipe. Skin Camp is like the icing on the cake. How do we apply things? And then the School of Radiance is like the cherry on top. So that is often the sequence that my clients get the most out of working with me, or register for all three all at once. If you have any questions, send me an email, info@rachelvarga.ca. Don't forget, download my free skincare checklist over at skincarechecklist.com, and then you'll get exclusive invites to things like masterclasses and other really cool live and free events. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and I will see you again right here on the Always Radiant Skin podcast.